camera might be upside down. But
if it's showing fine.
Is it showing okay? I hope we're showing good. All right, hello.
Figure that out later.
Good Monday morning.
Is it
right?
good? It's so cold.
You know, yeah, it seems a little unfair. Minus 30 with the wind chill, and I don't get it. They say, oh, it's going to be 0 degrees, but with the wind chill, minus 30. Just say minus 30.
Yeah.
Don't tease us with 0, and then with the wind chill, minus 30. That's not fair.
But isn't that kind of like what's going on here? It's like
that's a
it
perfect
sounds
entrance.
better.
Yeah, I really feel like even with the weather, they make it sound better, and then they stab you in the side. So, anyways,
the numbers got released for February.
Numbers got released, folks, for February.
Yeah, for February.
Yes. We're diving right in. None of this chit chat this morning. Welcome to Element Monday morning coffee time. Let's go.
I got a full day. I know you have a full day. I got a full day. We're gonna get through this.
We got stuff.
So yes, the numbers were released, and there's a lot of like words that go along with it.
Overall, positive. Things are chugging along, which is great.
But what we did see was overall. So we saw an 18% increase, right? And that was
15% increase in price.
Right.
Or like, yeah.
In value.
Yes.
But what we also saw was that there were 2,100 listings available in the month of February. Sorry, this is detached houses only.
Yeah.
And of that, only 567 sold.
Wow. You have an excellent memory.
I try.
You barely remember my phone number yet.
She's like, it's a quarter. I don't know.
It's a quarter of that. That's all you need to know, yeah.
So what that means, though, is what she just said, is a quarter of the inventory sold through in February, meaning that you had if you had a house for sale.
Yeah, a detached house.
You had a 1 in 4 chance of selling.
And it was pretty similar in a semi-attached house as well, too. About a quarter of the listings that were on the market in February sold. So, in essence, you know, the board is saying that it went up, like we went up 15%. So they have their reasonings behind it, which is great. But what we're looking at is actual houses that sold that were up on the market. So, roughly 2,000 houses were on the market in February. Only 500 of them sold in February. Which means that if you were up in February, a quarter of the houses, you had a 25% chance of selling. And the reason that we're breaking it down this way is because we're working with a lot of buyers right now. And we're noticing the listings that are out there, they're tough, man. They're not all presenting very well. They're not taking the time to fix the things that need to be fixed. Their pricing is a little bit off. So that's a challenge. Right now, if you're thinking of selling in March, April, May, and you go, whoa, spring market, let's do this, absolutely. But please understand, it's really, really, really important as sellers that you make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's. Make sure your house, if there's things that need to be repaired, repair them. If there's things that need to be presented differently, present them differently. And pricing, no joke right now. Price properly, peeps.
Price is king.
It honestly, right now it is. Like when you look at those kind of stats where it's 1 in 4 houses that and again, we're looking just at February's numbers. That's actually kind of interesting.
That's a stagnant number. Like,
yeah,
that's incredible.
And it's not that there aren't buyers. There are buyers. Like the buyers we're working with are like, please, we want some great listings out there, and they're paying top dollar for them.
Yeah.
Like the houses that are out there that are presenting well, are priced properly within reason, and show well, and aren't like falling apart and all these other things. They're selling, and buyers are eating them like it's the last loaf of bread on a Sunday.
Yeah, there's actually been a few that have gone like over $50,000 over the list price.
So, and it's really funny though, and yet there's other houses that are just sitting on the market. So, if you are someone who's sitting on the market right now and you're just like, what's going wrong? Really take a deep dive. How am I presenting this house? Are there things that I need to be doing to it to get it better? What are those things?
Where am I advertised?
Yeah, exactly. Like really try to figure out what's actually occurring there. But it was interesting, for sure. Bank of Canada.
Bank of Canada. So we dropped.
Yeah.
5 points.
Yes, sir. Interest rate. Yes.
Interest
Let's be clear what dropped. No. What?
We just dropped. To understand that, right? The Bank of Canada, they just dropped their interest rates,
which is actually kind of crazy because they were holding pretty true and strong, and then things happened.
Yeah. So it's double-edged sword because it is positive.
If you're on a variable rate mortgage, it's wicked because now your interest rate is going to go down a little bit. And I heard that the big banks are following suit. They are dropping some of their longer term interest rates and stuff like that. So all of that's very good. The dangers and the thing to caution, and I guess this is what the Bank of Canada is always a bit concerned about, is household debt, right? Because when debt is cheap, people are like, oh, I'm going to go buy that new boat I've always wanted. It's only, 4% interest. Let's do this. Or, hey, I want to go on that dream vacation. It's so cheap to borrow against my house. Let's do this. Those are the types of things we want to go. Monica has a headache, so that's fun. No, just joking. But it is good in the sense of for houses, like if you're looking to purchase, stress test amounts are now going to go down come April 30th, I think it is.
April 6th.
April. See, shoot, this is why I have her here, because I don't remember these dates. I just remember April. At some point, it's coming up. So April 6th, stress test is going to go down now that the Bank of Canada dropped their rates. So that's all very positive, especially if you're a first-time home buyer and you're struggling to get into that first house. But let's put caution out there. Just,
absolutely,
let it be good for bringing some of your costs down if you're on certain kind of debt structures. Awesome. Let's try not to get into more debt.
That's the thing, right? Is that when I typically think that this is sort of a bigger picture, which is that our economy is not maybe as strong as we want it to be.
Yeah.
So this is kind of an indication that now Bank of Canada, they want to allow more people to borrow and boost up our economy. That's how
and
I
also
see it.
businesses as well, too, right? Because businesses, it plays a huge factor, interest rates, right? Because they're not borrowing a couple $100,000, they're often borrowing millions, and so a couple differences, half a point of interest can actually be quite a bit of a savings for businesses. So they're trying to stimulate the economy by bringing down what it costs to borrow money.
So again, it's positive if it's used well.
Yes.
And properly,
I think it's like anything. Just because you can, doesn't mean you should.
Responsible, fiscally responsible. Yeah.
Yippers.
So that's kind of the update, but we wanted to pick something that's going to be, it is really common right now, and you're going to see a theme of this throughout spring, summer, is the open house.
Yeah.
And first of all, the open house, if you are not aware, is an opportunity. It's usually like a time block of a couple hours, typically on the weekends. Sometimes we do them on the weeknights, week evenings,
in the summer,
because we know all y'all go to the lake and
you're Lakers out there,
so we block off a couple of hours. The homeowners are not present usually, and it's an opportunity as a consumer to just walk through the house freely, ask some questions to the listing agent. You don't have to ask any questions. You can just see the home, and you don't have to book an appointment. It's just an open house.
Yeah.
So that's generally what it is on the kind of quick synopsis. And I think we've gotten into a theme where a lot of sellers would like an open house. Some people do not want an open house because maybe they don't like random strangers walking through the house. And the thing is, the open house is that we can't qualify who's coming in the house. No. Anyone
it is
allowed.
An open invitation to anybody.
So we aren't qualifying people, and so some people want only qualified buyers going for their home, and that I can completely understand and appreciate that. So there are folks who don't want an open house, and we work with that, no problem.
Yeah.
But why would you want an open house? So the way I see it is a couple of things. It allows for maximization of exposure in terms of maybe the buyer has already gone through with their agent. Now they want to take mom and dad through, so there's an opportunity to do that without booking an appointment.
Yeah, and sometimes buyers who are kind of just in the research mode of their search, which means that they're not quite ready to buy, but almost ready to buy, and they're just going through houses to see what they can get for their money.
Exactly.
Oftentimes they don't want to bother their agent by dragging them to 5 million houses when they're not quite ready, so they'll go to an open house. And sometimes buyers who are ready, this is probably, I would say, 60% of the people who come through open houses are buyers who are actually ready to buy, and they just want to go through it without the pressure of knowing they're taking up someone else's time. They just want to walk through it. Do I like the house? Do I not like the house? If they like the house at the open house, then they'll call up their agent and be like, hey, we need to go look at this house. I'm a little bit more serious about it. Let's do this. Right? So you get all sorts of different people in there, but there are some pros, like we were saying. And so what's another pro for an open house?
So the way I see it when I'm hosting an open house is it's my opportunity as your listing agent to speak directly to a potential buyer, the consumer.
Yeah.
Your buyer's agent obviously will be primed with information and they'll give you the information, but really the listing agent's job is to sell the home.
Yeah.
So as a listing agent, you have the opportunity now to have those conversations, answer those questions that possibly the buyer's agent doesn't have because they just don't know the house as well as the listing agent does.
Sure, and that's fair.
That's very fair.
Yeah.
So that's my kind of
pro
and why I like to do them because I have a chance to speak to the buyer directly.
Yeah.
I don't.
And the other thing too is to get live feedback from actual buyers because oftentimes I always say this to my sellers is I can set a price based on past data and what I know of the area, my experience, all that fun stuff. But until a buyer is physically walking through either with their agent or through an open house, you really don't know how people are going to perceive. You have an idea of how they're going to perceive it, but you don't know for sure until it's up there. So to be able to speak to buyers directly who are coming through and go, hey, what are your thoughts on the house? What are your thoughts on the price? What are your thoughts on, is there anything you like about the house, not like about the house? Tell me a little bit more. You actually get that direct ability to talk directly to the buyer, which isn't always the case. So that is another pro to it, especially if there are certain things that we have been concerned about. To hear it, maybe it's not a concern. Maybe it was crazy. Who knows? Or maybe it really was a concern. Well, a little bit.
No, but it's a great for getting, like you said, feedback in real time on price, on the condition, all of that. And I think, for us as listing agents, we never take that personally. We take everything
which is
in
nice.
Consideration.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I wouldn't want people saying that about my house, but it's somebody else's house, so it's fine. Well, it's true. I always tell people, I'm like, tell me your honest opinion. It's not my house.
I'm gonna come to your house and be like,
okay, you know what? Keep going.
Regardless, there are a lot of pros to having the open house, absolutely.
Yeah.
But then on the flip side, there are some cons to it.
Sure.
So I have been in houses that are great little starter homes, and they purchased their house as a starter home, and they knew there was a little bit of a heave in the basement.
Sure.
And they had it inspected, and there was no issues.
Yeah.
That heave still exists because they lived with it.
Very
they were
seldom
okay
do you
with it.
deal with the heave. Yeah.
Right, and to deal with a heave is quite a bit of work, and if it's not an issue, don't make it an issue.
Yeah.
So I have definitely been in open houses where I'm the listing agent, and I've had Bob the Builder or Super Dad Dan come through and scare other buyers
that may not have
thought it was a big deal, but then all of a sudden it's a big deal. We've got a flashlight and a level, and it's
marbles rolling all over your floor.
Extremely out of control. And at being an open house, I had about 2 people I thought would be buying, and towards the end, no one's buying this house.
Yeah.
So your house might have some quirks.
Yeah.
It might have a little slopey, and
which a lot of them do. Like it's normal.
We are on a river, like 2 rivers.
We live on. Yeah, our soil is some of the most interesting soil out there to be building property on. So it's fair.
There actually shouldn't be a city here.
You know what? Let's not talk about that. Okay, well, at least we're not LA where we could fall into the ocean or something.
I'm just saying. The only reason it's here is because of the fork of the rivers. Soil conditions were not right. Oh, doesn't matter. Regardless.
Moving on.
Houses do slope in the city. We're it's very
especially
common.
in our popular areas like River Heights, like Wildwood, like those areas, like big old trees mean fun basements. So it's a part and parcel. Again, there's certain things you can look at as contingencies, things that you have to know information about it and see if you're okay with it. But it's true, in open houses sometimes it can actually work against you.
It can become a deterrent, even though there's no issue with it.
Yeah.
Right?
So the real question, and I think the real thing comes down to open houses, because oftentimes you'll get some clients who are like, I want open houses every weekend until it sells. Cool. Let's chat. Because the big thing, like in anything with real estate, it's custom. Yeah. Right? Custom to what's your price point on your house? What are the quirks to your house? Like, what are the things that we need to take into consideration? Because not every house should get an open house. Because you have to remember, an open house, oftentimes for the 60% that might be actual buyers that come through, we also have the flip side where a lot of them are tire kickers. coming through, their neighbors who just want to see how the other half live, or whatever might be the case, or parents that are just checking it out for their kid that's going to buy a house in 10 years or whatever, fine. So sometimes it's not suitable to the house to do.
Beneficial.
Yeah, because you have to remember, if a buyer is saying, I saw this house online and I want my agent to show it to me, and I'm not dragging, that's not the appropriate term, I'm asking my realtor to make an appointment, to take time out of their day, to take time out of my day, to rearrange schedules, to go view this home, that means there's a level of seriousness there. As well, an agent should be able to point out the things. So for example, if there is a small slope in the house, or there's a bump in the basement, or there's a crack in the floor of the basement, a good agent is going to be able to explain that with some level of expertise and say, hey, that level of cracking in a foundation, floor is normal. It's going to happen. Things are going to shift. Now, if there's a massive horizontal crack this big that I can shove my fist through, hey, you know what? We got a problem here. We need to look into that. But again, having an agent there to show a home is going to, one, show the seriousness of that buyer coming through your home, but secondly, they can kind of calm buyers down when they see certain things, and other things need to be inspected. Fact of the matter. But if there is a realtor there, they can provide those kind of insights. So it is, to me, sometimes with homes that are a little bit trickier, I'd rather see that appointments are coming through, because then they're not disrupting the seller's life for no good reason. It's actual people who are actual buyers, who have realtors, who've been pre-approved, who are ready to buy, looking at your home, not just people kind of just walking by, oh, there's an open house, let's go in. Make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So, again, strategize, customization.
Price point too.
Price point will matter. But work with your realtor to decide what the proper strategy is with your home, with that knowledge in place.
Absolutely.
That being said, if you are going to be hosting an open house, or your agent's going to be hosting an open house, there are a few things that we've come across. So just prepping for the open house is much like prepping for private showings.
So I want to make it a jungle gym to get into your house. So for example, ice. Right now, well, not right now, because it's a tundra out there right now, but
no, right
on
now.
the day, like yesterday, it was a melty day, beautiful, warm. Sidewalks were like literally lethal pathways. So make sure you ice, you salt the ice, make sure you clear out sidewalks, make sure you don't have water dripping on people as they're coming into your home because your eaves troughs are so full, or icicles are melting, whatever.
So make sure that that's done. Snow off your roof, try to get them off the valley so that there's no ice damming.
Because that poses, people look at that and see a concern, because that is a concern. So, and again, if it is a concern, make sure that you've addressed it, like kind of what we were talking about before with the 1 out of 4 houses selling. Do remember, if there is an issue, please, please, please deal with it. It's going to cost you more. It's going to cost you either ahead of time or when you get an offer. So a lot of people are like, oh, I'll just let the next guy deal with it. Not a problem, but do understand, they expect compensation for having to deal with something that you should have had to deal with as the current owner of that home.
Correct. Another thing is cleanliness. Just make sure the house is clean, ready for people to come through.
Don't cook smelly things before an open house, like frying eggs or bacon. No, don't get me wrong. I love some bacon in the morning, but not when I'm walking into an open house. So make sure the house smells really good. Do not go crazy with air fresheners. Warning to the wise, because air fresheners, I've had some bad experiences with people who over air freshen, because then I'm like, are they hiding pet odor? Are they hiding stains? Mildew, humidity smells. So do have a fine balance with that, but again, just clean, fresh, open a window, organized, yes.
The closet doors being open, nothing's going to fall onto people.
Yeah, that's never a good sign.
And if you have a garage, make sure there's access to the garage.
Actually, and another simple one, open your blinds.
Yes,
I know it's weird. I hate blinds. Blinds, without fail, I'll go to open one of those fancy things and it'll fall on me. So I hate opening blinds, but natural light is crucial. Don't make an agent open a blind, because I'm telling you right now, chances are it'll fall off the window and it'll... Anywho, that's just my own pet peeve.
Only happens to you, regardless.
Seriously?
But the natural light.
I will do the side thing. Anyways.
Do you know how to open?
No, I hate blinds.
There's a bigger issue here.
Yippers.
So yeah, that's the open house kind of in a nutshell. There's good reasons for it, and then there's also some reasons not to do it. So again, work with your realtor, come up with the right strategy for that. But at the end of the day, pricing is actually the most important thing.
Yes.
After all of this, pricing is
it. If your house smells real good, looks real pretty, but is priced $50,000 over what it should be,
be careful with that.
Be careful. Do yourselves favors. It's a good market. Don't get us wrong. It is a good market.
Nice
there are
strong
buyers out there. They are hungry for some good homes, but be smart.
Oh, our producer's telling us to wrap it up. So
she's flying away, so we gotta go.
We gotta go. Anyway, all right. Have a good week. Monday. And
yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.